everyone and welcome. This week I'm going to be doing my November wrap-up as well as my December TBR. Usually I would film these two separately, but they're usually on the shorter side, so I wanted to just try filming them all at once and see if I like that better. But I'm going to be starting with my November wrap-up, and for November I read 5 books. 4 of them were on my November TBR, which is one better than I did in October, so I am pleased with that. The only one I didn't get to was House of Blight by Maxim M. Martineau, which I'm disappointed in. I wanted to read that, but maybe it'll come up later on, maybe January or February. But as far as what I did read, the first book I read was For Whom the Bell Tolls by J.C. Lynn, and this is the first book in the Hell's Bells series. And in this one, we're following Lily, and we're following her in her afterlife where she has decided to work in hell with the demons, helping them get souls to where they belong. And while she's there, she meets this demon general named Belle, and they become really close friends. And then there is an ancient threat to their world, and they have to solve this. And I really liked this one. I ended up giving this 4.5 stars. It's kind of like a cozy read with an edge. Like, it definitely has a cozy atmosphere, but there are some very upsetting topics in this one, so be aware of that going into this. It's also more emotional than I expected it to be. Like, there were definitely some moments that had me tearing up, and that doesn't really happen to me a whole lot. So it definitely packed a punch, and I really enjoyed it. And I really liked this world, learning about the different realms and how things work in each realm, and the world building was just really intricate and interesting, and I really liked that aspect of it. There were a lot of conversations on healing and growth, especially involving religious trauma and trauma from war. I loved both of our main characters and our couple. Lily was really confident and funny, and Belle is really understanding and supportive. And together, they're a really good couple, but I also just really like that they are like really good friends, and they're really supportive of each other, and their relationship was just really healthy and not at all toxic, and it was really nice to see that. Like, they just really enjoyed each other's company, and I liked that a lot about them. I personally thought this book was funny. I liked the humor in it. I thought the writing was fun, but I could see some people thinking it's a bit cringy. I really love the found family in this book, and it is a huge part of this story, so I really enjoyed that as well. The conflict with the threat felt really exciting and unpredictable and well done. I mean, it may have drug a little bit in some spots because it is a very long book, and we do get a lot of like slice of life where she's just kind of trying to figure out her new life in the afterlife, but I think it was intentional. It felt like we were seeing her start to build a new life and build a routine. So I wasn't bothered by it, but I could see where some people might feel like it was a little slow in places. The story wrapped up pretty neatly at the end, so I'm wondering what the future books are going to be. I have a guess as to who the next one could be about if we're not going to be following the same couple again, but I'm not sure. I don't really know much of anything about this series, but I had a really good time with this one, and I'm glad that I read it. If you're looking for a cozy read with a lot of emotional conversations and a really great healthy relationship and a great found family, then I definitely recommend this to you. And then next up, I read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett, and this is the first book in the Emily Wilde series. And in this one, we are following Emily Wilde, who is a professor at Cambridge University, and she is a researcher on fairies, and she is writing the first ever Encyclopedia of Fairies. And during her research, she travels to a small village called Harafinsvik. I think that's how you say it, something like that. And while she's there, she is researching these folk called the Hidden Ones. And then her academic rival slash friend, Wendell Bamblebee, shows up, and he kind of gets involved in her research, and she is annoyed by this. But I gave this one 4.25 stars. I had a good time with this one. I was slightly disappointed just because I did think this was going to be a 5-star, but I still definitely had a good time with it. I really like how it's written like a journal. I liked seeing her opinions on things that were going on and her thoughts and feelings. I really thought that was fun. I liked the fae in this. I liked the descriptions on them. I liked the different kinds of fae and learning about the different behaviors and how they interact with mortals in their different realms. The only thing I would say is I wish we'd kind of encountered more of them, considering the point of this story and the bulk of the book was researching the fae. I would have liked to maybe see more of the different kinds rather than just kind of interacting with the same ones over and over again. But it does have kind of a few more exciting and kind of gruesome moments for a cozy book. So be aware of that. It was nothing like super crazy, but it just took me by surprise. I didn't really expect that. I liked the villagers and the plot that ended up being revealed with them. I liked the characters as a couple, but I didn't like them as much separately. I liked Emily more than Wendell, which I think is kind of an unpopular opinion. But he's just kind of self-centered, and he's very charismatic and a little bit manipulative, versus she's really more standoffish and cold, but I actually feel like she has more empathy for people. I just kind of liked her character a little bit better. But this is definitely has a great slow burn because not a whole lot happened until like the very end. So I think we're going to get like a multi-book slow burn, which is always fun. But what we did get out of it was presented in a really exciting, intriguing way. So I'm excited to see what ends up happening with all of that. I definitely feel like this was a great, cozy fall, winter, fae book. So if you think you would enjoy that, then I recommend this. So next up, I read Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews. And in this one, we are following Andrew, who goes to an elite private high school. And when he arrives for his senior year, his best friend Thomas is just acting really strange, and he has blood on his sleeve. And then it's revealed that Thomas's parents are missing. So we're kind of trying to figure all of that out. And I gave this one 5 stars. This is a strong contender for favorite book of the year for me. I really, really loved this. I mean, honestly, I'm probably not the best person to give an opinion on this because this was the first horror book that I've read, but I really loved it. Loved the setting in this creepy old academy, as well as this like dark forest that's all around it. And there's also some illustrations in this book which I didn't know would be there, and I really feel like they helped add to the atmosphere as well, so I was happy that we got those. I felt like the writing was really beautiful, the characters were really well written, the pacing felt really good. I really liked the horror elements in this. They were gruesome at times, but not too much for me. And like I said, I don't read horror. I'm kind of squeamish, so I'm afraid to read. That's why I started off with a YA horror book. And I felt like it was not too much for me. It didn't feel like we were getting constant gore. It felt spaced out enough that I was able to handle it. And I really loved the main characters in this one, and I was definitely rooting for them throughout the book. There was good queer rep in this as well, and I liked seeing our characters kind of figure out their feelings for each other. I did predict parts of this, but not all of it, but it didn't affect my enjoyment of it regardless. The ending did feel a bit like cut off and abrupt, but after reading the acknowledgments, I think it was intentional. It said something like, if you're finished this book and you're staring at the wall, then it's done its job, something like that. I think it was meant to kind of leave you wondering what happened and wanting to know more. But there were definitely some questions that never got answered that I wish had. But this was definitely just a heartbreaking and haunting story that stuck with me. But it was beautifully written. I really, really enjoyed this. So if you're looking for a good YA horror book, I highly recommend this. And if you have any other YA horror book recommendations for me, please let me know. I would love to read more. Okay, and then next up we have Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, and this is the 3rd book in the Empyrean series. So I can't really tell you much about this one because it's the 3rd book, but the first book is Fourth Wing, and in Fourth Wing we are following Violet Sorrengail on her journey through this cutthroat, deadly war college where they are learning to bond dragons, and then they will learn to ride the dragons and fight in the war. And honestly, I really like this series. I loved the first 2 books, but this one was a disappointment to me. I didn't love this. This was definitely my least favorite of the 3. I ended up going with a 3.75 star, just because to me, I feel like a 3 star would be like average, not good, not bad, but not like great, just kind of fine, not really memorable. 3.5 would be above average, but still not great. And then 4 would be like a really great book that I really loved, but not a favorite. So I was going to do a 3.5, but to me, when I looked at my 3.5s, that felt too low. So I gave it 3.75. Just because honestly I don't know what to do with this one. I really didn't like the first half, and then I really did like the second half, so I'm just conflicted. The first half of it, this book is very long, and it definitely felt like some of it could have been cut from the first half. It was very slow. It felt like we were just kind of waiting around to go on this quest that ends up happening in the second half. And you didn't really see as much of the characters that I wanted to see in the first half. We saw more of these newer characters that it seemed like I was supposed to get attached to, but that never ended up happening, so it just didn't really work out for me. And there were so many names mentioned in the first half that it definitely seems like I was supposed to know who these people were, but I don't remember them. Like, they were dukes and duchesses of all these different places, and I just don't remember their place in this story at all. I don't love the romance in this one just because I never really feel like I fully get attached to them. I never fully feel their emotional connection. And then it's happened quite a few times where I start to feel like I'm really liking them and I start to see it, and then we end up backtracking every time. And it happened again, and so I'm just kind of feeling like I'm never going to end up liking them. But if you already like this couple, you'd probably kind of like the back and forth between them. But as far as the second half of this book goes, I really did like the quest they ended up going on. I liked the world building we got from it, and I just liked the entire second half of this book. It definitely picked up. Our plot finally started to move along. Things got really exciting, and I really enjoyed the second half. The cliffhanger was bad. I've seen people say it was terrible, but I didn't realize it leaves so much unanswered. And honestly, it's kind of annoying, but it definitely did work. Like, I'm definitely intrigued, and I definitely will be wanting to pick up the next book when it comes out. So yeah, overall, I guess I would just say this one was disappointing to me. I didn't dislike it. 3.75 isn't a bad rating, but it was disappointing more than anything, and it felt like it probably could have been shorter. And then lastly, we have The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, and this is the first book in the Folk of Air series. And in this one, we are following Jude, whose parents were murdered when she was a child by a fairy general, and this general takes her and her sisters back to his land to live with him. And here we just kind of see her journey trying to find her place in this world among all of the folk. And I liked this a lot. I gave it 4 stars. I really love our main character, Jude. She's really confident and smart, and honestly, she's a little scary, and I love that for her. She's imperfect, and I like that. She's just like a normal girl, for the most part, trying to find her way in this world and trying to make a space for herself in this place where she doesn't feel like she belongs. But honestly, like, the only other character in this book that I really like so far is her sister, Vivian. The rest of them I'm either unsure about or I really do not like. And there's one that I'm, pretty positive I'm supposed to end up liking at some point in this series. And if that happens, I will be impressed because I really don't like him. And there's really no romance at all in this book. This is just like a YA fantasy book, but I'm pretty sure we do get a romance later on, and I think this is going to be like a true enemies to lovers. And if it's done well, I'm really excited for that. I didn't actually know that this is partially set in like a modern day urban setting. So that took a minute to adjust to, but we don't see a whole lot of that. It's mostly set in the Fae world. So it didn't bother me or anything, and I don't dislike books like that, but I just didn't know it was going to be like that. But as far as the Fae goes, I like them. I like that they actually look and act more like traditional Fae, like they can't lie, they can't touch iron, they're mischievous, things like that. We also get other types of folk. We got trolls and goblins, all kinds of things. I really enjoyed that aspect. And I also really liked just overall how magical the world felt. And I thought the writing was really pretty, but it didn't feel like overly done. There was a good tension in this plot that kept things exciting. We had a lot of rivalry and intrigue. I definitely did predict a few of the bigger twists, but I still enjoyed them. But I've heard that the later books are even better, so I am excited to continue in this series. And yeah, that is the last book that I read in November. So I guess we will go ahead and get into making a December TBR. Okay, so I'm just going to use my TBR jar for this and pick 4 or 5 prompts. I'm hoping to continue some series or to get some of the Goodreads nominations for a vlog that I'm doing, but we'll see if that works out. Let's find out what the first prompt of the final TBR of the year is going to be. I'm excited. Let's see here. We have a book with blue on the cover. Okay, I think for this I'm going to pick Our Infinite Fates. So in this one, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know a whole lot about it. I've heard some mixed reviews, but it's on my Goodreads list. But from what I understand, we're following 2 people who kind of end up together in every life, and then one of them ends up having to kill the other in every life, and they're kind of trying to figure out why that is. Like I said, I've heard mixed things, but this sounds like something I would like, so I'm excited to finally try it. Okay, let's find out what our second prompt is going to be. Things are going well so far. Let's see if they continue that way. Nature on the cover. Okay. For this one, I'm going to pick Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry because this is the book that I'm currently reading for my vlog, and I did just start it on December 1st, and there's flowers on the cover. But in this one, we are following Odessa, who is a princess, but her sister is the Sparrow, which means she is meant to marry a king in order to fulfill the treaty. But when the king gets to their castle, he decides he wants to marry Odessa instead. And Odessa's not happy about this because her sister has been training her whole life to be the Sparrow, and Odessa has not. And then it seems like there's going to be some cool monsters in this that I'm excited for as well. So I'm really glad to be able to add that one on. That's really helpful. Let's go ahead and pick our third prompt. Oh, I have two. Okay. And the third prompt is going to be a book under 500 pages. Good, that is very helpful. Okay, so for this one I picked The Thrashers by Julie Soto. And this is a YA thriller, and I'm really excited for that because I have been wanting to read a thriller. I love thrillers, but I've been having a really hard time finding ones I like recently. But I've heard good things about this one. So in this one, I don't know a whole lot about it. I just know I've heard great things. But from what I understand, we're following a girl who's a part of a popular clique at her high school called the Thrashers. And then one day, some other girl that was trying to be a part of their clique ends up disappearing, and they get pulled into the police investigation. Yeah, I've heard good things. It sounds good. I'm excited to read a thriller. But let's go ahead and pick book number 4, our fourth and final book for this TBR. And we're gonna get Continuous Series. Okay, that's really helpful too. Okay, so for this, I'm going to pick A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas because that is the most recent book out in that series, and I just want to be caught up on that series. I've been waiting forever for it from the library, and I finally think I'm going to be able to get it. So I'm going to go ahead and add it. I don't want to say too much because it is a later book in the series, but from what I understand, we're going to be following a new couple, which I am really excited for. But yeah, that is it. That's the final book on this TBR. I am really excited for this TBR. This turned out really well, and I'm very happy for that. But that's going to be it for this video. So I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I hope to see you all in the next one.